Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 82 of the OG Technically Trick. I am your host, Dave Prime, and over on my right is filling in for the Captain Katie is our UFP president, Travis. How's it going, man?
It's going great, actually, and stuff. I mean, it's what I not saying, but it's a Monday. People feeling what's that? What's that one song go? A manic Monday.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a
yeah.
Monday.
Even we're starting our show a half hour later. Saying I think going to go for at the bottom of the hour, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. That might get a couple more people. We already got 15 live viewers tonight, so I'm like, so great start to the night. So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, I can't. What was Kitty doing this weekend? I forget now. Saying I think she was going to another convention and she just needed the day to recuperate. That's why you stepped
She
in
said
to
she
fill in
she
for
had
her.
some prior engagement. She said something about she had some prior engagements that she forgot that she had scheduled, and she could not changed it. So she, asked me to fill in for her, you know, because she was like, there was just no way for her to, do do this and do what she's doing at the same time.
Yeah, same, but we miss her. Same. It's great that you
Yeah,
always are able to step up. I mean, you're one of our regulars, so I mean, you'd be here regardless. So thank you for being here, and even with your new job, at a later time still able to pull it off. So thank you.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Hey, I've been here since the days of what's that, the Twitter space,
Mm-hmm.
the DT Twitter space with everybody.
Yeah, DT extra innings. See, that's crazy. That
Absolutely.
I started. That was about 3 years ago or so when I started doing that because I've been doing this since
Yeah.
episode 18 on YouTube. So definitely been doing it for a while. It's been about just about a year since I got that Lower Decks autograph poster. Now I was looking at some of my old stuff, thinking, "Wow, it's been a year since I got that already."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's that say? Tip if you time flies, and
Well,
stuff and everything.
yeah, it sometimes goes by really slow, but
It
that
really, it
that's another story.
we could talk about temporal stuff later in Star Trek because they do a lot of time stuff and everything else, but that's a later, conversation and stuff and everything. Real quick, Dave, I got some housekeeping
Yes.
news with some entertainment and stuff and everything to
Mm.
anybody who's joining and stuff and everything. Um, this year actually, it's something interesting that I came across over the weekend or so. It marks 40 years that I believe Nintendo debuted. I think it was in 85 or 86, and I'm not sure. I
Pretty sure
think
it's
it
85.
and Nintendo came onto the scene. So this year marks 40 years that we have had Nintendo, a games console system, that revolutionized a lot of things since because when I was young, when we was young, it was like ColecoVision and Atari and stuff, which was really good at the time and stuff. But like when Nintendo came along, it really took off, and Nintendo was just one of the fun type of things that growing up it was it was great and everything else. Also, on a little sad note and a little sad news and stuff and everything else. Um, after 44 years, MTV is shutting down their music channel. If nobody noticed
I
this,
saw that.
yeah, MTV is shutting down the music channel. The now MTV is still going to be continuously, but channels that do music and everything else and stuff and everything that you see that you don't see and stuff like that they used to play way back in the 80s and 90s and somewhere in the 2000s and stuff. They are shutting down. Like a lot of MTV, yeah, I guess the merger with the Paramount Skydance, deal that they are getting rid of a lot of stuff like that. So, you know, let's just say RIP to, a lot of great music and movies or not music videos that we have enjoyed over the years through MTV, and their sister channel, I guess, to VH1 and stuff and everything, you know. But yeah, sad news on that and everything. But 44 years.
Yeah, but I mean, it's MTV today is definitely not MTV back when it first aired. I mean, it's
No,
was pretty much
no.
it was all music TV, and then it started doing the reality shows, and then MTV2 kind of took over
Started in the
all the
early 90s.
videos
I
and stuff
remember
like that.
it was started in the early 90s with the Real World. The Real World started in 1993. I think it was 1990, 1992 or 1993. The Real World came along, and that's when the first MTV they experimented with like the whole reality thing and stuff. But like I mean, throughout the 90s, they still have a lot of like their VJs. They used to have like different shows that they had VJs. A lot of famous VJs used to came through. They had Yo MTV Raps. They had every different like different genre of music too that people whether it be like metal, alternative, rap, R&B, pop, stuff like that. They used to like cater to all demographics. Not at the beginning of it in the 80s, but yet they started moving in the late 80s into the early 90s, and they started gradually moving and stuff like that. But sad to see that MTV is getting rid of at the end of the year their music channels and stuff like that. They already got rid of some overseas, from what I've been told.
Yeah,
But
say, but a little thing when it comes to that, saying around the same time that MTV started to air, saying, I'm putting myself out there. I was a super geek. Saying my mom would always brag to her friends, like, while kids today are watching MTV, my kid's watching the Weather Channel. Like,
oh
yeah, I was when I was in junior high, I was really, really big into meteorology. I wanted to be a
yeah,
meteorologist when I grew up. I even though I don't like want to go that path anymore, I do have one of those little weather station things I can put in the backyard so I can look at the wind speed and the weather and all that. So I
yeah.
mean,
And,
it's a
and
lot
you'd
of
be surprised in this day and age, meteorology is fascinating, you know, to no end, because it's just not about, oh, what's the temperature gonna be like tomorrow, what's it gonna be like, and stuff like it. It's all about like projected forecasts, knowing the weather, and then too, you if it just, you don't have to be go to school to understand, because they teach you this in school about like different clouds, cirrus, stratus, cumulonimbus, and stuff like that. Like, warm front pressure, low pressure, high pressure, stuff like that. How does a hurricane form and stuff like that? Just a lot of little things and stuff. And when it comes to like knowing if you work outside or if you have to do stuff like that, it's always good to keep informed. When it
hmm
comes to like weather forecasts and stuff and everything else,
yeah.
it is actually a really big thing and stuff that a lot of people don't admit to. But like watching the Weather Channel, it's not so bad. There was a time that Weather Channel actually used to have a show that they used to do where they show a lot of like different like having the like current like current events, but like something that happened like one of the most electrically charged places on the planet.
Nope.
I think it's Venezuela. It gets hit by lightning or something like that near the Amazon. Not for sure.
So sorry, I both my Seattle teams are playing tonight. The Mariners are on the cusp of getting the first World Series in franchise history, the only MLB team to never make it to the World Series, and they the Blue Jays got to score before getting it 3 outs, so it's
Okay,
one
the
one at
Blue
the top of the
Jays,
second. And
the Blue Jays.
The Seahawks are going to be playing here in about an hour and 15 minutes. So, yeah, I'm going to be slightly distracted tonight. But
Well,
yeah, the weather even going back to the Weather Channel, the Weather Channel's not what it used to be. It used to be just 24/7 weather, but now they're doing a bunch of reality TV shows too in that regard.
and then you got weather. You got people who chases weather too, like weather chasers and stuff and everything else. People who, do a lot of like little things, stuff like that. So the Weather Channel, like you said, it's not just what it was back in the days when we
hmm
coming up and stuff like that. Now it's more. It's more than just like predicted forecasts and stuff and everything else. They got a lot of things where now where we got drones. It's so crazy down like in my local area and stuff. The people at our local TV stations when like we have a big old snowstorm or something like that, or like heavy rain or something like that. Not doing rain, but they ask people if you got drones, you can send us pictures of your area and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Show us what it's
It's
like and
re
stuff and everything else.
Yeah, it's a totally more inclusive getting the people involved and stuff like that, which I think is great. Say we're going to wrap up the technically part of technically Trek, but it's like Jim mentioned a bit ago that he was in love with Erica M, and see he's been there since almost the very beginning. Jim Cantori, I had such a crush on him when I was younger. I mean he's still hot
Tour.
today, so
Wow, those are names. Oh my goodness, those are some names I haven't heard in ages.
I say
Wow, wow.
but yeah I see Zach backstage here. We're gonna bring him into the chat after he finishes it. Nope, not yet. He's got to finish his cigarette because yeah, face or YouTube doesn't like it when we're smoking on the camera. So we'll wait for that to get him to get done with that. But we're continuing the spooky theme for this month. So we're talking spooky episodes of Star Trek. Last week we did Frame of Mind from Next Generation. You had something else there,
Hey,
Travis?
before we get into the whole thing and stuff and everything else,
Mhm.
um,
Oh yeah, my sponsor, my partner Debbie. Sorry about that, Dubby. I was saying, yeah, I was saying Dubby's got a lot of great flavors. I with doing this, doing my AA, doing this sober housing stuff. See, I don't have time to make money for Lyft, which is my main source of income. So once I finally get a little bit of money, something comes up. Say I got my storage unit that I got to pay for. I got a week before I got to pay for my phone bill again. So I'm thinking, crap. One of these days, I'm going to get some flavors to try on camera. I'm going to do a live taste test. But if you don't want to wait to see what it is, you want to be adventurous, so go to w.gg and use the code TEKTREK, TEKTREK. You can get 10% off your non-bundled product. So if they do like 4 or 5 different flavors all as one deal, you're already getting a heck of a discount on that. So they don't want to get you a double discount, but if you're getting separate flavors on your own, get a cool tumbler or two. Sorry, it's a great product. I really enjoyed the that that cherry that I have for their mystery flavor. That was really good, and it gives you the
is
energy.
Grandpa Ditcher
It
Water
gives
still a thing?
it is. It's a limited release. I mean, once it's gone, it's gone. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
to try that now since I got dentures. I kind of have to.
But you're not a
I have
grandpa
to
though.
try it. No, don't. I'm an uncle, but not a grandfather.
There you go.
But yeah, Tech Trek, you get 10% off your order. So thanks for reminding me on that.
And also
But
too,
yeah,
uh, about people's interaction with us.
oh yes, I mean this is one of the few live like Star Trek podcasts that welcome live participation. Well, there's a lot of people that can a lot of the podcasts, not knocking any of them. I'm good friends with a strange new pod, and God, it's been almost a year since I was a guest host on that one. Next month it'll be a year when I was on there to talk about Star Trek Generations. And say, so God, time just
The
zip
future,
zip zip.
time flies.
And see, I mean,
And stuff. But yeah, like they said, you guys can come and interact with us. Right now while we're live, you can you can join chat, or you can join audio, or if you want to actually come on camera, you
I got
can got the link down in the description below, and you just click that link and stuff, and Dave will get you on, and you can debate. You can debate with us whether you disagree or agree with us and stuff and everything. We welcome the participation and
oh,
interactiveness with all of our viewers.
absolutely. We currently have 7 slots available. So, I mean, and there's 22 viewers. So hopefully one or two of them will be able to pop in and partake live. I mean, it'll be great. If not, you can like use the YouTube chat and say, and if you don't see a link because one of one of our participants backstage, the Legacy Zach, has said he simulcasts this on his channels. And if you don't see the link in his description, just go to Dave Prime 1701 on YouTube. You can keep that window open. Go to Dave Prime 1701. There'll be the link right there in the YouTube chat or in the YouTube description. But yeah, we can always put it in the chat, but it's saying it's always a hassle. You just go to Dave Prime 1701, click the link, bam, dude. And be sure and like and subscribe because it's still a long ways to go, but I pray that one of these days I'll get enough subscribers that I can actually start making a few extra bucks doing this every week. So it'd be
Absolutely, and it's just fun. It's just fun actually talking, just talking technically Trek stuff, and then a little. We get a little off track a little time, but we still like to talk about entertainment news, like entertainment, movie, TV, and just like a lot of different things, stuff like that. So we try to remain fun here on this channel and stuff and everything. But our parent channel is Dangerous Thoughts with Mono Interami, who played Egypt, and his
oh
co-host is Tyson Strasberg.
yeah,
So
say yeah, Tyson. I mean, he's got a lot going on in his life, so he has been notably absent. We miss him, but say but that was one of the reasons why we were doing the show at 5 o'clock, so he could participate for an hour. But then he had to pop off and do his radio net whatever with his radio thing. Why am I? I'm having a
yeah,
Katie. I'm having a Katie moment.
yeah. It's all good. It's all good.
Uh, but yeah, see, well, one little side note. I mean, like I was mentioning earlier before we had to mention our partner, is that it's October, so we're talking spooky episodes. See, this is like up there in the spooky, but Michael McKean played an excellent villain in this episode, who, by the way, just had a birthday over back on Friday, I want to believe. See, I saw a little blip to say, oh, it's Michael McKean's birthday. He played the clown in the Thaw. And I say his voice, his inflections, just his overall behavior and acting ability. I mean, I don't see anyone else being able to pull off that character.
His birthday
But
was on October the 17th, if I'm not mistaken.
yes, yeah, that was Friday. Um, but see, all I like I said, I got a page of notes of like little tidbits that we talked about one of the things backstage. But it looks like Zach is ready to come on camera. So we're gonna bring him on. How's it going, man?
What up, fellas? What up, though?
What
Hello,
sky
Zach.
What up,
clouds
though?
hold?
What
Welcome.
up, though? My Detroit Lions, homie. No, I'm a Browns
What
fan, but yeah, I root for the Lions too. What up, though?
Well,
What up, fellas?
right
So,
now there's 14 Lions, Buccaneers 3.
what up,
Hmm.
though?
Oh, I appreciate that,
Oh,
Zach.
oh yeah, yeah. Everybody, if you care to help Dave and all of us continue to crank out some good content on Star Trek and keep on doing our thing because this is fun, man.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I left my PayPal down there. You donate to me on PayPal. I will I will be generous to give it to Dave.
Thank you. Yeah, see,
So
I do have a donate link on my Twitter handle as well at TechnoDave. You can click on that too as well. See, but oh yeah, yeah, Jim, you're absolutely right. Yeah, saying I mean, he was AI before AI was really a thing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that
one
is
yeah,
thing
a
that's one
that.
thing we're gonna get into about that, and then too, about the 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 structure of fear. Like I like how they
Oh,
talked about fear itself, and
mm-hmm,
too bad Katie's not here because she like the whole psychological part of it and stuff, but the
no, she would.
fear, about like the fear that we in real life what we deal with and stuff and everything.
mm-hmm.
But we'll keep it technically tracked for right now.
Well, speaking of
Oh,
technical track, and since Jim brought up the AI malfunctioning, you're not wrong that I mean, right now, in the terms of where it's heading to, there is a chance that it could certainly be on the scale of, well, it's not really scaling. That's the issue. but it's on the level where there can be some bad things that occur if we don't focus on building and developing through the mechanisms that we have, and adamantly dive into the acknowledgement of law zero. But if we are to embrace AI for the future, we can, on the capacity of teaching it, babying it. It's like our children, and acknowledging the concept of consent. So if we can teach it how to consent, and we actually raise it, then and teach it morals, we can actually use it as a great tool, and it wouldn't even just be a tool. It'd be just like a
And you said
family.
that I was watching an early morning show, Zach, and somebody, I forgot, somebody said when you hear AI, people always talk about the dangers. They talk about Skynet, or
Hmm.
the overall fear of stuff like that. Somebody said people don't really ask the question, how can AI be actually beneficial to us in certain ways instead of being such a negative aspect? What are the positivity of AI for us as human beings and stuff and everything? Because I never really stop to think about that, because we always thinking about, because we got Terminator, then we got this particular episode, and then you seen some other things, because it always centers around the the AI or the robots, something like that, gaining some sort of self-awareness, and it's turning on us humans and stuff and everything. And then you got, like, oh shoot,
Well,
back in 1999, the Matrix. You got the
yeah.
Matrix and stuff and everything. You got all that and everything else, and then it's like, I worry about the future of AI and stuff and everything, given what this in this particular episode and stuff and everything. But I'm thinking too, when somebody asks that question, it's like, can we discuss what could possibly be beneficial in the sense of AI
Well,
for
we
us?
are we are Star Trek nerds. So
Hmm.
we love Star Trek, and the
Yes, we
concept
do.
of what Star Trek's realization towards society is in a post-labor economic world. So you have the
Yes.
time to create because of the technologies that have allowed for society to gain certain comforts so that they can actually supply themselves with the means. And so that's what AI in a positive standpoint can do for us,
Yes.
is
Yes.
we can start automating, utilizing AI robotics to do most of the labor for us, and then we can start anew in a post-economic world where we have another form of technology that can kind of correspond with the AI doing most of the hard labor stuff, and that is the blockchain. So if you attach the blockchain, use that technology as a utility for the talk in the politic world, especially over the last years, especially back in like what Andrew Yang was one of them, like 2020.
Yeah,
You had
Andrew Yang.
had the UBI. You can have that UBI through the blockchain systems and attach that into the AI regime, and then you can utilize a means to invest into different technologies, different innovations, different businesses within the new apparatus that these AI systems are leading us into. And then on top of that, you have more freedom, more free time to be creative in your own right, to start that business, that niche business that you may want to start, that kind of adds that human layer, because not everybody's going to want to go get their haircut from the robot from down the street for $1.
No.
Somebody might want the human contact, the human element. They'll pay a premium for say like $100. Might be $100 is expensive, but they get that human experience. You can do things like that. So that's just one example. But the post labor economic idea through the utility of the blockchain and what AI can represent in freeing us from the hard labors of the day where we're breaking down our bodies, that is a positive track. And that leads into Star Trek and its universe.
Real
But
quick, because we
before we
still
go into
talking.
that, I want to bring up Jeff's comment there, saying
Yes.
if it's AI reverse engineered alien tech from a crashed UAP,
You know what?
or
That's a
if
strong
the UAP
possibility.
crash retrieval program is,
Ooh, I love
yeah,
it.
And you know what?
I love
Real quick,
this stuff
because we still on
most.
the same thing too. Do you guys remember in Star Trek Picard? Star Trek Picard in season one, they basically banned synthetic life forms. Then we
Yes.
saw what happened with the synthetic life forms. Did they use the synthetic life forms to do labor work? Then we seen them in Star Trek Picard where they show that they do labor work and stuff and everything else. And it's just like, or we get to that point and everything else, but we get so far off track and everything. No, not far off track and everything, but with this particular episode and everything, because the type of AI that we're gonna be discussing, and the type in a sense, is gonna be with the mind, with the element
Mm-hmm.
of you know linking your brain in an artificial environment, just like the Matrix and stuff and
Mm-hmm.
everything. So this
no,
is gonna be.
but
Go ahead.
no, just like the one thing that Zach brought up initially about AI using it as a labor force. The first movie that popped in my head was iRobot.
Oh
Saying,
yeah.
do we want the three rules in all AI to prevent things from going south if it ever did get too smart? And
Well,
Well,
that's
I've seen them both. I remember vaguely the original, but then the Will Smith iRobot, which is when it comes more so to mind because technology is more advanced. It was cooler in that movie than the original.
well, that's where we have to get to.
I like
We
what
have to
Jim
get
said.
to Law Zero, and we have to acknowledge that there's a basilisk. A basilisk is like basically, just think of it like a monster staring you down in the face. And we create basilisks all the time for the good of everything, but then we allow it to swallow us up. Can we actually face down the basilisk and either tame it or destroy it so that that doesn't occur? That's where humanity is right now.
Hmm.
Can we actually create a balance, or are we just doomed to our own destruction in our own creation?
Hmm.
That's
And I
good.
think
That's a good
humans are
question.
more resilient than that.
Hmm.
I don't think we'll let ourselves destroy us. We won't destroy ourselves like that.
No, no.
So
But a couple of the tidbits to start off this episode is that the Spectre in the Mindscape, that was Mr. Holm, Carl Strickland, or
Yes,
however you say his last name.
yes,
The,
yes. The big, tall, skeleton like.
well,
Yes.
the the African mask looking type thing,
Well, you also do know Mr. Home, the guy who the actor who played Mr.
Mr. Holm.
Home. Uh, he had just he's played. The only crossovers he ever done was Voyager, if I'm not mistaken. Just
I
that.
believe so, yeah. But
mhm.
he did audition for Commander Data back in
He
'87.
auditioned for Commander Data.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
7 foot android. That would have been interesting.
A 7 foot android. Wow.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting.
I could be wrong, but if memory serves, he did try out for Data.
He
But
auditioned for
then
Data.
but
I wouldn't.
then but then he soon after they say, we don't think you'd be a good fit for Data, but this Hom guy might be a good fit. So
And I do remember him from the early '90s the Adams Family movies. Yeah,
Lurch.
I remember he was Lurch. Yeah.
Yeah. And the opening scene from this episode was Tom and Harry in Harry's quarters, Harry playing the clarinet. That was originally supposed to be in the episode Death Wish, which we reviewed a while back.
Okay.
But they put it in the canon. They actually used it for this episode instead. So that's
I
an
like their
interesting
dialogue
little.
about in that particular in the opening scene about like Harry's playing the clarinet and Tom's sitting there. And then I guess they heard a banging on the wall. I guess Instant Baytar was banging on the wall because I guess he was playing it too loud, and he was like, like it's just the fluids running through the walls and stuff and everything else. And Tom had to remind him the ship was built for combat, not for sound and stuff. And then
Yeah.
I started thinking this. And to anybody who's watching, you know, building the starship, wouldn't you think about some sort of type of insulation or like sound insulation?
Absolutely.
You know, about
Yeah, because
like,
I mean,
I mean,
yeah, I mean, if a couple of crew members decide to get some giggity going on, say, are they going to
oh
hear
yeah.
that as well?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if the walls are thin and you can hear, I mean, that, I mean, you can hear a clarinet playing and stuff, and then you'd be like, "Oh my
Yeah.
goodness!" You can
Oh,
only
oh,
imagine,
oh.
the sound of, two human beings, boinking it out. You know.
But it's great though. Just like Tom was just like, oh, we could get him to night shift. He say Harry said, we can't do that, can we?
Oh, I'm sure
It's
they
like, "Ah."
could.
But one
Oh,
other thing that I was reading that when saying unfortunately Katie's not here, but it's kind of gives a an England reference when this initially aired they canceled this episode. They didn't air it when it first came out because it was the day that it premiered was the day Princess Diana passed away.
Hmm.
So it was preempted for Diana coverage.
Hmm.
See, I just learned
awesome.
Well,
about that today. So
that's not fair, England. England, Star Trek reigns supreme.
yeah.
No, I did. That's actually an interesting tidbit.
Yeah, I did not know that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, see,
Wow.
like I said, I didn't know that till I read IMDb is a wonderful thing. So
Yes,
props to Amazon for
IMDb.
that, which thankfully the Amazon Web Services didn't cause any preemption of this episode tonight because we missed an episode a couple weeks ago because was having some major internet issues.
Yeah, I guess we experience a lot of technical stuff happening here in the U.S. and stuff. And anybody know
Oh,
that
sorry,
when something like Microsoft, there's something happened last year with Microsoft, and Microsoft had a thing, and Cash App, what's that, Cash App,
sorry.
Venmo, or something like that, and then um, other stuff had some fritz for at least several hours, I guess. So there was some
Yeah,
technically stuff happening here in the U.S.
yeah. See, Mariners scored 2-1, top of the third.
Okay, okay. Dave's keeping us on track with up to date on the Mariners and the Blue Jays. And
Is it,
anybody who's a Blue Jay fan, you know,
sorry. Yeah,
Phil, if you're a Blue Jay fan,
but say blonde ADHD, two strikes. Let's say I just like squirrel. But
I mean,
yeah,
it's
and
14-9 in Detroit, so
well, I would say they're catching up. But one little thing to say when they mentioned Lieutenant Nicoletti playing the oboe, that actually made me think of my mother because she played the oboe when she was in school. See, that's
okay.
not an easy instrument to play.
No, it's not an easy instrument. It is not. I seen it, and yeah, I'm like, I'm glad I would not want to play that instrument.
But when they came up to the planet, when Neelix said was trying to think this used to be a bustling economy, blah 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 blah. It's been a while since I've been here. Then was it Tuvok that punched it up saying it's been about 19 years? Like, well, it's been
Yeah.
about 19 years since I've been here.
That was a pretty funny tidbit.
Yeah, but oh, sorry,
make that 20 to
little
9,
coffee.
about to be 21 to 9.
Oh boy,
Oh, Lions just score. Okay.
yeah, but
Jim
yeah,
said he.
just
You see what Jim said in the chat?
oh
Sitting in fourth
wow.
space.
I remember you mentioning where you were at, Jeff. Where was that? Was it were you basic training here in the Springs, or were you somewhere else, or
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
is
Yeah.
you know, say there, say the more the merrier. But yeah,
Mm.
just like I just like Neelix is old if it's been almost 20 years since he's been there.
He's
Yeah,
got around ever since his
yeah,
home planet was conquered. He's got around. He was one of not a scavenger, but he was one of those ones. Oh,
The
okay.
Great Skate.
Okay, yeah,
Lackland.
Lockland Air Base. Lockland
Yeah,
Air Base?
that's what he
Okay.
said. Basically, so he was probably Lackland, and sure enough, it is.
Mm.
See, that's where one of my
In
friends
the
from
great
high
state of
school.
Texas.
Yeah, one of my friends went to Lackland and got. I think he washed out because I think that the humidity just got to him. So, see, going
Mhm.
going from a dry climate like Central Idaho to go to Texas, yeah, it was a
Doesn't work.
lot. Yeah, yeah,
It,
yeah. Unfortunately,
it
he's
is.
one of
It's.
my.
Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I'd ask him, but unfortunately, he's one of my friends that have passed away in recent years. I've lost. I'm not even 50 years old yet, and I'm losing too many people I went to school with. It sucks.
Life, you reach a point where life stops giving you things and it starts taking things away.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, like I said, it's a illness, accidents, and murder. See, I've had the whole gambit of people from my class pass away, or people like a few years from from passing away or dying or whatever.
now the
But I
backstage, Dave.
digress. Huh.
Well, backstage, did you tell me we talked about the guy who played Viorsa?
Yes, he played a multitude of characters in the Star Trek universe, and he's ranks up there with like Jeffrey Combs, J.G. Hertzler, in doing characters. So of course he has Viorsa. Yeah, he played Viorsa in this episode. He also played Kira Tabin,
Mm.
Kira's father, in two episodes of DS9 in flashbacks, obviously. He played Toss in Broken Bow, one of the Vulcans. He also played uh, Mirok, one of the Romulans in the next phase,
Yep.
which I think that's an episode I think we're going to talk about sometime down the road here. He played the train engineer in the next gen episode Emergence, and he also was where else? He was the Harbinger, the canary in a coal mine, one of the sphere builders. And
Yep.
but then you pointed out it wasn't in IMDb, Travis, that he was the comm officer on the Enterprise B in Generations.
Yep. 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 Yeah. Yeah. He was. I remember him distinctly. I was like, wait. And then when I seen him popped up in Voyager, I'm like, I recognize him, and I remember hearing his voice before. I was like, okay, his name is Thompson. Was it Thompson or something? Thomas.
Um,
Thomas Kopech.
Thomas Kopech or Kopechi or
Yeah, he has a pretty good extended from TNG,
oh,
DS9, and Voyager and
oh.
Enterprise. So he spent a
Mm.
good part of the '90s, back and forth in Voyager.
See, I can never really do the heart, so giving Jim a heart there.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't catch that either, Jim, and nobody else did because it wasn't listed on IMDb. So at least not that I noticed. I'll have to look again. It's probably there. Probably just like LeBlanc ADHD. But yeah, this was a good episode. But see, someone mentioned that Janeway just totally threw the Prime Directive out the window in this episode.
She, yeah, she did. She did.
But
She's just like, I'm not gonna get scolded by anybody, any of her superiors and stuff and everything. Of course, they all made logs about it, but I mean, in this case, I think Starfleet would have been okay with it given the
yeah,
outcome.
but say the funny thing is, I don't know. It was the Universal Translator. Oh, excuse me, retranslating the numbers, but it's a 15 years. Who knows how long 15 years is for this planet? 15 years could be 20, 25, 30 years on Earth's calendar. So it was a bit pretentious for Janeway to assume that this planet's on a 365-day schedule.
Right, because no planet, not every planet is like Earth. Everybody, like, we know Bajor has a 26-hour.
Absolutely, I was thinking the same thing. And say so Cisco and the crew, they had to capitulate to the 26-hour schedule. and saying which I'm sure will make
Yeah,
the
yeah.
birthdays a little more interesting for celebration. But yeah, I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I actually purchased the audio adaptation to Janeway's autobiography, which was a great thing to listen to when I was doing those Eastern Washington 14-hour drives every
Yeah.
Saturday. Uh,
Let's talk about, like, when they detected, the stasis pods, and they
mm-hmm.
detected the life forms and stuff and everything, starting to get
Is
to
it?
the opening and stuff. As we, they beamed it aboard in cargo bay one, if I'm not mistaken,
Mm-hmm.
and they was, going through all of this, technical stuff about them being in stasis and stuff and everything. But when they got inside, when, you know Balana and Harry, was got inside the stasis pods and stuff, and they got into the environment, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's when the really interesting stuff started happening, and that's where, the whole thing where it's like, okay, what's going on in here? You started seeing, like, these figures, these clowns and stuff and everything else, and these, like, circus type of.
Performers, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And it was like, something went really, really wrong. Something went really, really wrong. And then, it was a wonder. It was so funny that when I saw the clown with his when he had a mask on his face, and then he took it off
Mm-hmm.
and looked away, and they just kind of had that thing. I was like, oh, this is the antagonist right here. I
Oh,
could tell when I
absolutely.
first seen this and everything. I was like, this is gonna be a pretty interesting episode and stuff. I thought it was I thought it was just gonna be like, so what, because the title of the name doesn't, really give much description and stuff and everything else. But when it comes down to it, it's like, oh my goodness, Jane was right. How do you, you know, how do you not negotiate, not so much negotiate with fear, but how do
Mm-hmm.
you get fear to let you go? Like, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with an emotion like that? She was speaking to it like it was a physical apparition and stuff and everything else, which in this case it kind of was, because they was in an artificial environment, basically an AI constructed, like, matrix and stuff. But the whole thing was just, it was mind blowing.
That I never thought of that. Yeah, say Jeff wonders why they just didn't pull the pot, open up the pot, and try to resuscitate him because I mean he was brain dead at that point. So I mean he could. I mean it didn't fit the script.
Well, I think Hess, I don't know, because the doctor at that time still didn't have his mobile emitter,
Yeah.
and
So
they said, and they would have had to act quickly. I mean, this would have been like a quick thing where, every second count and stuff. I'm not sure Kess would have been able to, do what the doctor could have done to
or they
probably
could just
save him.
be he could have just beamed him out and just right over the sick bay and then bam.
Yeah, they could have. It would take, what, less than 3 or 4 seconds of transport.
Hmm. Yeah, I think yeah, it's like 3 to 7 seconds is like the window for full transport. But yeah, if he was clinically dead, say then yeah, it could have
Yeah.
been yeah.
Uh, well, I mean, also too, like, and we was talking about the AI part of it and everything. You know, the whole thing is, eh, you know, are we? They did a really good way of putting it. Not the AI physical construction. About, like, the a machine. You know, but and the software and stuff and everything else. This was like AI integrated into, like, a humanoid, brain and stuff and everything, and it wouldn't let go. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. You're right, Jeff. Yeah, yeah. It it just makes you start to wonder, and you look back at this particular episode, and then occur what we talked about in the what Zach talked about with AI and everything else and stuff. You look back at like in this particular episode because this episode came out like almost uh 30 almost like 38 years ago or so. It was, well, not 38, but
That's
28
well,
years ago, about
yeah.
20 to 27, 28 years ago. It came out about 27, 28 years ago. And you start looking at that, and they when it comes back to about the AI part, and you start looking at it, and it's just like, wow, Star Trek was dealing, was dealing in little things, tidbits of, merging. Because Janeway even said, she said Starfleet, not, I don't know if they experimented, but they, put people in stasis while their brain active function was, still going. Like, they basically like this, like what we seen in this particular episode and stuff for long periods or travel and stuff and everything else, So they was in stasis while their bodies in stasis. Their brain functions were very active and stuff and everything else. You start looking at that and you be like, wow, the possibilities of your brain being active while your physical, form is motionless. But I still say this: when your physical form, because we as human beings, we need to move around. If we stay stationary for a long period of time, our limbs become atrophy. You know, we need to move our, muscles and stuff and everything. That's why, like, I guess you see astronauts who come from space. They spend a lot of time in space and stuff where there's no gravity. Their own weight makes them, like, hunch over and, like, feel like they can't walk and everything else and stuff. Because their muscle hasn't been used and stuff. And you'd be like, oh my goodness. But like long periods in, like, a stationary form that not moving your muscle and stuff like that, that could take a toll on your body. Not to say the mind, but like the body itself and everything else. And I'm like, I never really, when they
Yeah.
talked about, like, stasis and stuff in
Mm.
particular episodes like this, they never addressed the thing about long periods of people being, in atrophy. Because you can't just get up out of stasis and walk around and just stretch your arms and go, "Oh, that was a good night's sleep," and stuff. It's like
Yeah,
you
you got
haven't
to
moved your.
retrain the muscles. You really do.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I'm just kind of wondering where in the Star Trek timeline that they were doing that. I were they did they kind of touch on that on Enterprise at one point? Maybe
About
like being in
About,
stasis for longer journeys.
I believe, I think they did. Yeah.
Of course, Enterprise happened after Voyager, so they
Yeah.
wibbly
it
wobble
was a pre- it
nonsense.
was a prequel. Yeah, it was prequel and stuff and everything. I do
Mm.
remember too, like, Travis Mayweather, who was the helmsman of the Enterprise in
Hmm.
uh the show Enterprise. He mentioned that, between the distance of their, it took them a good long while because their vessels only go up to like warp 1 point something and stuff. And at that time, between the distance between systems and stuff could be like several months to a couple of years, something like that.
And Jim brought up an interesting point when they put Han and the augments in suspended animation. Say it's that can be a whole topic in of itself. Is
Yeah.
just that instead of just killing them all, they just threw them on a ship, put them in a deep freeze, and just sent them into space.
And if the system failed, the system failed. They died of, the environment,
Asphyxiation,
the
yeah.
cold harshness of space. No life support or anything, so you just died of, being in, an open vacuum,
Hmm.
which could be a very terrible way to go.
Hmm.
But once the audio, once all the audio books of Khan, and say that's something that again, Strange New Pod, they're doing reactions to all that. Maybe that's something that we can do for our show. Let's see, because I mean, because there's gonna be a small gap. There's just a it's end of October, so we got November, December, so we got about 10, 12 weeks before we start talking about Starfleet Academy. So we got time to maybe look at looking in those as a possibility since it's on YouTube, so it's free for everybody to listen to. So
And real quick, while we're
the
in the
thought.
while we're in the middle of our show and stuff, give us a like and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, so
And
the more likes, the more subscriptions. My
And pay
my
us money.
yeah, but
mm,
a perfect
That's
birthday
not greed.
present. A perfect birthday present to me would be so my birthday's on December 25th, so yeah, I share a birthday with Jesus. So even though it's not officially his birthday, I think he was born in the middle of summer or something like that. But every the Christian belief is that he was born the
yeah,
25th of
yeah.
December. Back 2,000 years ago, there was only a 10-month calendar. I think there wasn't a 12-month calendar back then. So that again, that's a whole other topic. But I'd like to break 100 subscribers by the end of the year. That would be really cool. And
Hey,
that
you know
would be a
what?
fit.
Subscribe.
And come
Subscribe,
interact
subscribe,
with us.
subscribe.
Come interact with us. There's a link below. You can come and you can come on video just like me, Zach, and Dave. If not, if you're camera shy, you could do
You can have the
audio
camera
if you
on,
want,
just like Zach right now.
like Zach, or you
We
can
can
get in
we
chat and everything else. We want to hear everybody's thoughts, opinions, and stuff about any kind of topic that we talk about and stuff.
yeah,
I don't know if we want to hear your opinion, but come join anyways.
yeah. We want to hear your thoughts,
I'm
regardless.
just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, Zach,
Oh,
I'm gonna have
say,
to do one of those fucking my mail on you.
but I think
It won't
the
work.
doc.
I'm I'm Romulan.
Oh, oh, okay.
See,
Romulan
but
Zach.
say the doctor probably had some of the best lines of this episode, though.
Oh yes. Oh, absolutely. Oh,
Say,
he has
but
some good one-liners.
yeah, but there's like two things pertaining to him. With what a a lot of questions were asked. Why wasn't he sent into the virtual environment to begin with? But B, it was great when he did because like the clown couldn't read his thoughts because he was a computer program. And
Exactly.
so it's like, I can't read your mind. How am I supposed to trust you? And he just deadpans. I have a very trustworthy face. That just made me laugh.
Well, it's funny when the doctor appeared. He was holding a type of old type of scalpel, and the
Yeah, she
doctor
said, "You're not
grabbed
that
him.
right." He said,
He said
"I was ready to be scared to
yeah, the
death."
finger. The finger is supposed to, you got to place the finger here for, better, dexterity.
Maximum dexterity. Yeah, maximum dexterity, something like that. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, okay, that's yeah. And then it's so funny that the doctor threw it away, and then he just like,
He just
who are
said,
you?
but
That was a good line.
yeah. See, I know. I've been friends with Mono for a while. I know that there's like definite bitterness between him and it's like and Garrett. They say we won't go into the sort of details on that, but just like they don't get along. But I mean, he had some good stuff in there too in that episode. See, we got to learn a lot about Harry's background, which again, being a Star Trek series, it's mentioned once, never mentioned again. But yeah, when he was a little kid, he was in that hospital and the clown preyed upon that fear that he had, that deep like
Yeah.
fear and resentment, and it just kind of bubbled over, and Harry just lost his shit.
Yeah, he said that he ventured into a hospital where it was a disaster relief that his parents took him, and then he
Radiation,
went to a
yeah,
part,
radiation.
where he saw a little girl strapped down, and they was getting ready to perform surgery on her, I guess, and she
Mhm.
looked at him, and it freaked him out, stuff like that.
Yeah, because he was only 9 years old, so that was a good 18-ish years ago for the character. So I mean, it's definitely
Mhm.
a memory that he's tried to suppress, but it fear did what fear does is say once you kind of plant that seed, it
Hmm.
just festers and propagates and then bam, it's in the forefront of your mind.
What
Absolutely.
do you What do you think about how Janeway treated this fear in this episode? How
Oh,
did she?
she did awesome. And then of course when jumping ahead to the end of the episode when she kind of played fear by just going in there but not really being in there using the holographic technology to say it's like I'm just a
Mhm.
holographic construct of Captain Janeway. I'm programmed with any response that you may give.
She actually said too, when she was talking about like, how do you negotiate with fear? How do you let fear let you go? You know, fear is one, and Supervisor even said fear is one of the most primordial uh, of emotions of most biological creatures. It tells us when there's danger. It keeps us, alert. It tells us when, to not take any unnecessary,
Risk.
risk in life. And fear can
I
be a
can
fear could be a good thing. There is a
no.
side of that fear could be good, but then there's the side that we saw this with fear. Fear was basically holding you hostage, and
Hmm.
stuff and everything. And you know, the one thing she said too is, fear exists to be conquered.
And actually kind of
Fear's just a tool.
going on a sidetrack with that the fact that my path of sobriety. Yeah, fear is a companion. Just like it's just like he wants to sometimes wants to trick me into drinking again, and I'm
Yeah,
stronger than that.
yeah, yeah. Oh
And it's
yeah,
kind of like with
you got to ask yourself too this question too about a lot of us and the people in chat and anybody who's in chat who's watching can test can ask themselves this question. Are all of our fears and stuff that we deal with when we wake up every day and that we deal with on a daily basis and stuff and everything, whether it be the fear of losing our jobs, the fear of losing, somebody that we know. Of course, David mentioned that, he's known a lot of he just recently classmates and stuff and everything else is, the fear of, the unknown, the fear that
well,
we go through every day that,
Why do we need to fear the unknown? Embrace it.
you know what, you it's like you can't walk down the sidewalk fearing that. Oh my goodness, you look around the corner and think that, a car jumped the curve and it's gonna hit you and stuff and everything else. It's
Mhm.
one of those things where, we do fear a lot of things, like I was just saying about like paying our bills, making seeing what, if we can have food on the table, if we're gonna be able to eat. Just a little
Mhm.
tidbits, a little bits of fear that we deal with in our daily lives and stuff and everything else. But we always get past it. But there are those who give into their fear and stuff and everything else. Some people give into the fear and they result to, addicted habits like drinking or abusing drugs and stuff and everything else because they escape the fear
Or
of failure or
Mhm.
what we see in life and everything else. It's like no matter how much bad we wake up and just like, the world just feels so crappy to you. It's just like, oh my God, I can't get a break from, no win for losing stuff. It's just like, how do you keep going? Do you tell yourself, I just got to keep going, or did you just give into that fear of failure?
Yeah, most people want to numb themselves so they don't have to deal with anything. Whether they consume alcohol to a greater degree, or put a needle in their arm, or enjoy sex too much.
mm,
What's not to enjoy, right? But at the same time, there's always moderation. I mean,
There, yep,
so
yep, yep,
you go
yep.
deep, you go too deep into it. When is it? I mean, video games. I mean, anything can be an addiction. Something that goes beyond the pleasure center and just numbing you because you want to escape from whatever it is you want to escape.
That
Yeah,
is a good question because I
yeah.
Harry just scanned and saw the one pod. It's like, yeah, how many other ones might have been around, or
And you never.
were they the final remaining people that survived?
Hmm.
Exactly. It was just like there was five of them at one point. There was five, but then it was just three people, and it's just like on this planet. I'm like, not saying, but if it was, as Neelix said, it was a very popular trading port many years ago and stuff and everything else. You would think, but of course, they most likely they abandoned the planet. The planet was abandoned. Some people stayed just like them.
Oh, ooh, ooh. Perhaps other people woke up, and because everyone's
Mhm.
experiences are a little different, they saw that it was gone, so they up and left. I mean, that could be a possibility too. So there's a lot of unanswered questions there.
But like Bilal said, who wished him up or dreamed him up or whatever stuff when they was talking about, how did it happen and stuff and everything. They was, consulting with the other people. And they was like, how did this happen? He actually grew out of their own insecurities, I guess.
I can understand that, Jim, because now your fear at this point is because of basically sleeping with as many women as you can. At this point now in your life, it's almost like, well, am I adequate enough for a deeper connection than just sex, right? Or is that just all it is? So yeah, I mean, and it's hard to establish that it's harder to establish that true intimacy.
Yeah,
A lot of people are fearful of that in that intimacy,
yeah, I'm one of those
vulnerability.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
See,
You talk about
I
that too. Go ahead, Dave.
no, see, I put myself out there every week to the internet and whatnot, but when it comes to like a any sort of deep connection, I'm a klutz. I Stuff goes right over me. And there, back when I was active on the scene, some of my friends will say, "Dude, that guy was totally hitting on you," and it was just I was totally oblivious to it. Say, but in my
Well,
sobriety,
we're talking about AI too right now,
yeah,
and about the AI and everything else. And right now, people are not they got AI actress, they get this AI actress. I'm not gonna say, but like people are starting to get AI boyfriends and girlfriends. Let's just
mm,
say it's getting to the point where we are living in this thing where we see that
That's
like Star
scary.
Trek holodeck. You could have like a holodeck, and you could have like a playmate of a holo character that you create and everything else and stuff and whatnot. But now we're getting into like
Well,
uh
they don't even need the AI. I mean, at this point, I mean, the AI makes it a little bit more worse, in my opinion. But I mean, honestly, with the advent of all the porn that's all over the internet and free to share, I mean, they already have people have that all to their fingertips.
well,
But go on,
but you was
Travis.
talking, but you was talking about like the whole because you and what's that? Jeff was talking about the whole intimacy thing about people, the
Yeah,
connection and stuff. But people are connecting with their AI boyfriends or girlfriends. That's what I'm getting at. It's like people are choosing to not interact with a flesh and blood creature as a human being. They rather go for an AI generated image and stuff and everything because that AI type of you know program is going to tell you everything that you want to hear, and stuff and everything. And they're not
Siri,
going to disagree with you. I mean, if you disagree
Siri,
with
am I
AI,
beautiful? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of them all? That's basically what we're sitting at right now.
mm,
like in this episode, okay, they was in the that they was in the generated computer simulation in their brain, and they
mm,
they could have like conjure up a lot of different things, stuff and
Mm,
everything. It, you know what, is we have dreams. Sometimes our dreams don't make no sense to us. Sometimes our dreams can be, it can go all kinds of ways and stuff and everything else. But what you dream about is something in a sense is like your own world, your own not say your fantasy, but it's your own world that gives you a sense of peace and pleasure. Because I know there's a lot of people who have, as you just put it, like pornographic dreams and stuff and everything else. And people have those dreams of, you know, somebody that they're with or somebody, stuff like that. It's just one of those things where, you come to, realize when you wake up, oh my God, it was just almost, it was just a dream. It was like a simulation. It was just a dream. You wake up from, that simulation, that dream, and you realize, reality hits. Nothing was real. You just, almost like a holodeck. You just
mm,
flip the switch off and be like, oh, okay, it wasn't real. It was just make believe and stuff and everything.
sorry. Coffee's not quite strong enough tonight. But yeah, talking about that, just one of the lines from the clown was, "When your only reality is an illusion, then the illusion is your reality."
Yes, yes. Oh, I remember he said that. I was like, that's such a good line. That is such a
I
good
wrote it down.
line.
So,
Such a good line.
and he delivered it well.
They delivered lines really good well in this particular episode and stuff and everything
Mm,
because it, like I said, it dealt with fear, but you start taking that fear, what they said, and applying it to our real lives and stuff and everything else. It's like, what, that makes a lot of sense about, like, what they said, not just particular for this particular episode, but like, you're like, people, why do we take risk? Like she said, why do people take risk? Why do people do things, put themselves in danger and stuff, knowing that it could kill them or hurt, kill them, stuff like that. It's just like, the fear of, the fear to be conquered.
fear's meant to be conquered. Yeah, face your fears.
But
Yeah,
fear
if you
could be
don't,
a
if
good
you
thing too.
exactly,
Mhm.
it's like there was. Oh, sorry, got something in my eye.
Oh, it's your
There,
eyes.
yeah, there's one time I was went out for a hike with one of my roommates and the dogs, and he said, "I want to try this trail here," and it was a steep trail, and all of a sudden I was just like, and I just looked like, "Nope, not doing that."
You decided it wasn't worth the risk.
I say sorry, just I say, go ahead though. This is a text I got to answer now.
Oh, you're good. You're good. But Zach, you actually you caught did you rewatch the entire episode itself?
I did not. I didn't have a chance to watch the whole episode. It
Okay,
was
okay. So you just remember it just based bits and pieces, right?
bits and pieces. I remember a little bit, as well as the synopsis that I read before I jumped on.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, this particular episode, like I said, it was at the end, getting close to the end of the second season of Voyager, and I remember when
Mhm.
it first came out too. And I thought, because I was a teenager at the time, I really didn't delve too much into it. So like, I just thought it was a an okay episode. I didn't really look at it in the sense of, oh my, they really went deep into, the whole thing, the aspect of fear, about the idea of, fear, what I say, fear holding you hostage. That's basically what, the premise of it is. Like, fear was holding them hostage and they won't let go because fear wanted to exist. In a sense, the clown was the, manifestation of fear, given, you know, limited expectation and stuff and everything, because fear could be almost any type of little thing in different forms and stuff. It took the form of a clown, of an alien clown, I should say, which was
Mm.
pretty weird and stuff and everything. But what cracked me up too is like, watching uh the clown and all the other
Mm.
others interact with the clown and stuff, and if they, even the little short lady, I was like, you know what? She reminded me of somebody that I remember watching growing up. And I don't know if anybody remember, but there was a movie back in I think '82 or '83. It was called Poltergeist. It
Mm.
they brought a medium in, and the little medium lady, oh, she was just so sweet, and the way she talked, and that little lady, she reminded me, the little uh lady on in this episode. She kind of reminded me of that little lady. I was like, she couldn't be, but I was just thinking, nah, she could, because the way she talked, no, no, no. But it was just one of those things where at that time I was just thinking, no, she wasn't in this. She wasn't continuing. I think she retired from acting long before Voyager came along. That's what I was thinking and stuff. But that's just one little funny
Mm.
tidbit that I have about this particular episode.
Well, let's just double check that to make sure. So I'll pull that up. But yeah, I'd say she had a pretty good line too. Don't be a poop.
uh, the set design that they used was pretty interesting.
It says it. It's just because, like I said, IMDb is a great thing. Uh,
Yes, it can be, but not all the time.
yeah. See, was she? Yeah, there is Patty Maloney.
But anyway, let's get back to the whole this whole typical episode. I like that this episode didn't have a B plot.
Hmm.
It really stuck to just what they was doing. It didn't have a B plot to it or anything. It stayed right.
You know,
uh
you're
Jeff,
right.
I like what Jeff said. I see what Jeff just said. He knew where I was going with that. um I like how they stuck to just simply all of this, the B plot, not B plot, but A plot, no B plot and stuff, and they would just make it, very a very straightforward, written episode with no, besides, I guess the opening with Harry and Tom, but that wasn't really anything, just an opening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but my,
But
it,
one thing that was like Janeway made a comment about saying one of the things that people do for fear is the roller coaster. So yay, roller coasters are still a thing in the 24th century.
I mean, people do get a thrill from sport, not sports, but like things that could be a disaster. Like I was saying, like, oh shoot, um, skydiving.
Mm. Yeah, well, yeah,
Base jumping, skydiving. Things that are thrill seekers. People who are thrill seekers. You know, a lot of that. It, it, it's scary, but a lot of people
mm,
get a lot of adrenaline rush from it and stuff, and it's like, oh my goodness. But yet, I mean, people have died from those kind of things. Hell, hot air balloon. Just recently, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, they had,
mm,
what's that? The International Balloon Fest, the Hot Air
mm.
Balloon Festival, and I mean, we all know what happens. There have been disasters with hot air balloons. People die. Hell, some
Yeah.
people actually somebody a balloon ran into I forgot how long ago it was, but a balloon ran into a power line.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
heard
think I
that story.
remember hearing something about that. But yeah, right there towards the end when the doctor popped in for the last time to give Fear the Janeway's ultimatum, and
Hmm.
just like I forget what the clown said, but the doc again deadpan's like, I don't get out very much, which back
Wasn't
then you
they
didn't.
trying to an artificial brain?
Yeah, yeah, but they're Fear's like, nope, it's got to be the real deal. They say, I want real brains.
Shadow was zombie like.
Brains.
Oh yes, Jim. Yeah, yeah. People they do what's that Balana did? Orbit they call it orbital
Orbital
skydiving.
skydiving. Yep.
Orbital
Yeah. Then of course
skydiving, huh?
she was doing it on the holodeck with the safety protocols off. So even that can be a dangerous
Very
thing. Even though,
that could kill you. I mean, she turned off the safety protocol, so we all know that could kill her.
yeah. But she said end program and it just
That was fun. And you gotta admit that's pretty neat when you're on the holodeck and something like that happens. And you just be like, oh, but one thing I learned too is you should never be sitting down when you deactivate the holodeck.
no. Yeah, the first away mission that the doctor did was also in the holodeck. Um,
Oh, that was
Heroes and
Heroes
Demons.
Demons. Heroes and
Yeah,
Demons.
yeah. When Harry and a bunch of others got scooped up by Grendel, which ended up being like a one of those plasma life forms.
Yep, yep. I remember that episode.
Yeah, I do too.
But I remember
But
the doctor, not still technically correct. I remember in the third season, the doctor's first away mission as a full like like away from the ship when he got his
mm-hmm,
hollow emitter. He
mm-hmm,
him and Taurus they went to answer a distress call from another hologram who had to turn out to be a serial killer. It
mm-hmm.
turned out to be, like a killer. It was a killer and stuff and everything else. So that was like his first like away mission, you could say, away from the ship. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was a season one. I'll look it up here. Right, maybe pull it up here in a hurry. I want to say it was an early first season episode.
What?
Da-da-da. The
Well, the one
Heroes. Yeah, season one,
it was in
episode
season
11.
one. Yeah, season one, episode 11. I remember that because it was right out. It was right after they exposed Seska.
Yep. And then the next episode was the episode when Chakotay was brain dead.
Yep, I remember that. Mm,
It's
yeah.
like right there towards the end of the season because after that there's only one. Excuse me. There's only 4 episodes left after that for the first season.
Mm-mm-mm. Wow. Yeah, this particular episode, really delved into, the fear, into like, you could say the fear of, what we like we just talked about, like, the fear of everything that, as we do as human beings, just the fear, just the fear of, like I said, not paying your bill, the fear of not knowing if you're gonna you have enough money to eat your next meal, the
Which
fear.
that's a fear that I'm having because it's possible that if this government shutdown keeps on dragging on, that I might not have my SNAP benefits next month for my food
Oh,
stamps.
oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Only if
it
Dangerous
might
Talk back, we could talk more about that. That's something that is just, oh, boy.
just sit Gowron on him with his Beyblade.
That's right. General Mata. That was General
Or
Montauk.
Martok. Oh, I said Gowan. I have no idea. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, if we want to wrap it up early, we can wrap it up early. But I mean, if there are other people that want to pop in on camera or on their microphone just to put in their thoughts on this episode before we put a cork on it.
Yeah, anybody come and talk to us. If not, we hope you join us next time
Hit that
around.
link, everybody. Hit that link. Jump in. Give your opinion and your thoughts.
I see Mariners scored again, 3-1. And
That's why Dave wants to leave. He wants to watch the
no, well,
Mariners game.
I don't know if I can watch it here or not, but I'll have to look and see. But like I said, I just got it on the phone, so
He's just
Mm.
keeping up the updates and stuff. I get you. I get you. I got my game right now. The Lions and the Buccaneers. Lions up 24, Buccaneers 9.
oy.
And it's the fourth quarter is 7 minutes and 42 seconds in the fourth quarter.
Oh, Saints, yeah. Whoops, we just lost Zach.
Oh no, Zach's gone. Oh, he disappeared on us and stuff. But yeah, anybody, everybody, all this and everybody who's in chat and everything else, we appreciate you guys stopping by, joining us,
He's
talking,
back.
talking with
What
us.
happened?
Zach's back. Oh, there you go. He was having him technically track. I guess one of those.
Technical
I guess
difficulties, or as I like to say,
there's some
technical difficulties.
little outage that happened.
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. I like that. I
Crazy.
like that. Technical difficulties. We got to start
Oh,
quoting. Technical
I have
difficulties.
no clue what just happened either.
Internet's just saying they dislike you.
Xfinity sucks. That's what it is.
I have them.
Although it seems like it might actually be a StreamYard issue.
I haven't had any issues on my end tonight. The only issue I had was that when I got set up, that the StreamYard wants to default to the mic on the headphones for my microphone when I got my regular microphone. So I just gotta be mindful to make sure and default it to try and default.
You got yourself a boom arm?
I do.
And it glows too.
It does. I like it. I bought it with my Christmas birthday money back in December.
Mine just glows blue. But I like my cover on it.
Saying so, I had to do some digging because I wasn't sure if we've done this before, like back in the Twitter days, but I got a big note from Katie, so I think the end spooky episodes for October so on the 27th we're going to talk about Empok Nor. I say that is a rightfully spooky episode.
That is beyond spooky.
I mean, it's one of the few episodes where even though I know that it's coming, that scene when one of the crazy Kardashians just went bursting through the glass and grabbed one of the engineers, it just like, and you knew it, but it still makes me jump.
And plus, it was an abandoned space station.
Exactly, and that's what makes it even more freaking.
Yeah, and the fact that
but at least it's not. At least it's not BioShock.
Yeah, but the toxin that was in the atmosphere that only affected Cardassians made Garrick go cuckoo and killed a couple of the Federation officers. But fortunately, that he wasn't held accountable for his actions since he was under the influence of a dangerous substance.
Yeah.
But I mean,
don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, don't do drugs, because I mean, even Garrick was like, I can't believe that did that. I'm so sorry.
Look, how many times have people been under the influence of, like, some sort of chemical or psychic name and stuff like that wasn't their fault? They just came in contact with it and stuff and everything, and it made them. I don't know if anybody ever heard, but there was a guy back in the 2000s. He apparently was eating somebody, and they say he went rabid and everything else. They tried to taser him. He didn't work and stuff, and You know,
I remember
Didn't they
that.
shoot him?
and
Didn't
they
they end
said
up
that they
shooting
thought,
him?
yeah, they ended up shooting him and stuff.
Oh,
They thought there was like some sort of like he had chemicals, but they said there was no they didn't find no chemicals in his system and stuff. He just
just like
went crazy and started eating people. People said zombies are real. No, zombies are not real. No, zombies are not real. Just Jim
no.
said Canadian.
He
He
was like
said in
the
Canada. You see what Jim said in the chat? The internet in Canada sucks.
well. I think that's
Oh,
what we. I think isn't it? Isn't it that
Oh,
nationalized internet?
yeah,
Bath
I think Jeff
salts.
hit it on the head. He was
salt. There
high
you
on
go,
bath
Jeff. Bath
salts.
salt. Yeah, yeah, yeah. People saying
Was
because it
that
was
the
that bath salt.
nineties? I think that was. I thought. I think that might have been not that long ago. Maybe 10 years ago. Unless
Oh,
you're thinking of another one.
I was thinking
Was
something
it in?
like back into it
Yeah,
was back in the two thousand
I think it
somewhere
was like
because
there was something. I think it was like 2015 or 16, and it was down in Florida. And a guy like got they when they ended up shooting him, but they saw him literally devouring somebody in the middle of the street,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
he was on bath salts. They when
yeah.
they realized he was on bath salts.
May 2012.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
2012.
yeah,
I
yeah,
thought it was
yeah. So
2015, 16.
it was in the early,
And
yeah, okay, yeah. I knew it
and
was in the late 2000, early 2000. Yeah.
And
yeah,
then
say in
the memes were
down
great though. The memes were the
yeah,
zombie apocalypse.
May 2012 in good old
Oh,
Miami.
oh, you know what else is going on in May 2012?
Hmm.
The Rapture started.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I thought it was
One
December
of
the
the
25th. I thought it was
raptures.
December. I thought it was December the.
Oh
I
no,
thought later in that year it was December
that
the
was
20.
the
December
yeah,
2012. Yeah.
that was the Mayan calendar. The Mayan
Yeah.
calendar prophecy was also December 2012.
I
21st,
remember.
December
I
21st.
remember they interviewed some guy. He said he sold all his worldly possession. He gave away his money, and then he was standing in Times Square waiting to be taken up to heaven. And
Yeah,
somebody
I
asked
think that
him.
was the
Somebody
yeah.
said. So somebody asked him. So you did you lose your ticket or did you just didn't get invited?
Yeah. Oh,
Manufacturing prophecies, you little dispensationalist bastard of Satan. Oh, did I say that?
That was no problems. Oh, that's yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, fentanyl's horrendous.
Jeff. Glad glad glad
Yes,
glad
yes.
glad to have you glad
There
to have you
was
back in
there
the
was
chats, man.
yeah. Oh, there was recently earlier this year there was a planetary alignment. So I think it was
Katie
at
mentioned
some
that.
point this summer. It's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, I remember Katie mentioned that. She was like, "That's why
Hmm.
things are kind of like, things was a little
Hmm.
wacky. People was acting weird. People even said this. I know we're technically off track and everything else and stuff, but like, people saying, the full moon. I watched the episode. It's William Shatner. It's on the History Channel, and it's called The Unexplained. And
Hmm.
they did a hour segment of the full moon, about the
Hmm.
not the full moon, but the moon in general and stuff and everything else. And they talked about like people the thoughts of the when the moon is full, it can have a you know physical effect on us, you know
Hmm.
good or bad.
I can totally attest on that because I spent 3 years working graveyard shift as as a dispatcher call taker for Yellow Cab in Seattle and Everett. And saying so, yeah, when the moon was full, that's when we got a lot more of the crazies calling in every single month, right around the day, like the day before of and after a
Or
full
day.
moon.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like
Yep. That,
more.
that that whole 3 days. That whole 3 days. It's like the weirdos
I had
come out.
to. Yeah, I mean, I had to work not a complete double, but like a half a shift a couple times when I worked at the hospital, and I can attest to that too. I'm like the full moon happens. That's when your ER gets cram packed and full.
And that's
Oh
that's
yeah,
a
that
really common thing. That's a really common thing. Across
Most
the
yeah,
globe.
most of the people that are coming in, surprisingly, are freaking out over a sneeze.
Mhm.
It's
Oh
quite
my
yeah,
goodness, it's the next plague. Somebody sneezed on me. Be like, keep your cooties away from me.
Yeah.
it's cooties.
Mm.
Oh, I never thought about that. Wow.
See, I didn't
That's
uh, because
He's just doing a Jim.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
just doing the humanity a service.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna say it.
he lashes out during a full moon. Oh man.
Yeah,
I really
I'm
don't
trying to
blame you.
think. I'm trying to think if Cass
That's
if
right. You know,
Cassie's got an autistic
Yep.
child. I'm trying to remember if
Well, we're
she
like,
has more moody around the full moon.
yeah,
Living with it for 18 months, didn't pay attention to that. So that's
and Jeff, that about the effects of water and the tides and stuff. Yes, that's
Oh
true.
yeah.
The
hmm
you know, around
and
the full moon. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That really that's a big effect and stuff and everything. I I just think it's it's pretty interesting when especially what's that say what's that what they call it when there's two moons in a month period.
Blue moon.
Yeah.
Blue
and just so you know, to go
moon.
to Jeff's point right there, we are about 60% water. So
Mm-hmm.
there you go.
Well,
That's why
we're
we're affected.
as those little microscopic aliens in home soil, ugly
Mhm.
bags of mostly water.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I never thought about what Jim just said about his son who's autistic, and he. I never thought about autistic people.
I can see
They
that.
have any effect in doing the lunar cycle. You know.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
I mean,
great.
during the full moon, I get a little normal.
a little normal. Yeah, I would. What do you define little normal in your case?
I'm not insane. I'm insane when it's not a full moon. So
Uh,
it counterbalances
wow.
Oh,
it.
well,
Well, for me, I just don't turn it.
it
Go ahead.
no, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, just for me, during a full moon, I do not turn into a werewolf. Just because I'm black
Are
doesn't mean I turn into a werewolf.
but are you what about in a werewolf? But no, talking about like cycles and things like that. I was saying the days leading up to my friend Chris's passing, I invariably just seem a little moodier, shorter fuse. They say it's going to be 37 years next month when he passed away, and I still get severe mood swings. And Travis,
Listen at this. Listen at this.
100%.
I
Yeah.
just realized. I realized this because I was watching that particular episode, and I remember they talked about this in 1912. Uh, in April of 1912, if anybody remember, the
The Titanic.
Titanic was struck iceberg and
hmm
sunk. In that, I guess,
Mm.
in that same month, there was a full moon lunar cycle.
Yep.
mm,
And they pointed that out. There was a full moon in that lunar cycle, and they said that they pointed out, you know, as we talked about the waves, the water, and currents and stuff, and everything else, the moon gravitational pull on the
Mhm.
planet, it has an effect and stuff. There are a lot of people who saying, the moon had played a part in the sinking of the Titanic.
Yeah,
which
but
is
then
weird.
7 months later, after three people that were against the Federal Reserve died on that ship when it went down, they signed the Federal Reserve Act.
Hmm.
Also, J.P. Morgan was supposed to be, he had a ticket. He actually did not show up to board that ship. Ironic, huh? J.P. Morgan was supposed to be on the Titanic. Never claimed his, never claimed his ticket.
Yes.
Wonder why.
Oh boy.
Wonder why.
What-
Wonder why old John Piedmont,
Uh,
Yeah.
Pierpont. I
turned
don't
into
know.
a human on a full moon. I like that, Jeff.
Yeah.
Turned
Thanks,
into a
Jeff.
central bank on
Yeah.
the full moon.
Yeah. See,
I'm not
I'll
jumping out of the
probably
window.
yeah the see because
Actually, I think when wasn't it a full moon when the which one was it? The Britannica was gunned down by a torpedo.
The Britannic,
Possibly.
Yeah.
Titanic, Britannic, and
Then there's the Lusitania,
and that was a different one. The
and then
Olympic.
there's another one.
I
Yeah.
think it's the Olympic.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. And then that one person who survived all three, sinkings. There was a lady. She survived all three sinkings of each ship.
How
I
how
heard
is
her
that
story.
possible? It,
Yeah, she
are we?
survived.
I'm thinking crisis actor.
Was that even a thing back then? But
In the
Evidently,
19
evidently.
Oh boy. But no, yeah, that's
That's all
the
of it
moon.
was
The moon.
fake news. Everyone survived the Titanic. Nothing actually happened.
I have heard people say that the vessel that's on the North Atlantic sea ocean floor is not the Titanic. It was when they
That's the
people say, "Oh,
Titanic.
it's been debunked." That is the Titanic. That the
Yeah,
Titanic
no,
is sitting on the name. It wasn't switched out for nothing. That I have
no.
heard conspiracy theories about that. I'm like, come on now. That conspiracy theory has been debunked. What went down
Mm.
was the Titanic. They didn't
It
switch
was
the
the
ship out.
Titanic.
Yeah, it was
Now,
crazy.
if they messed, if there was some messing with certain mapping plans and a reroute to go across the North Atlantic, sure, in the middle of winter, sure, maybe there's the conspiracy, but
Jim, it was good hanging that you hung out with us. Thank you.
yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long time, man.
Absolutely.
Jim,
Thank you for stopping by.
And
Absolutely.
same
I
with
I'm
too,
Josh.
right there. Look,
yeah,
Jim, before you go,
I'm
I'm
old
old too.
and
I'm old too.
exhausted.
On Friday, this Friday upcoming is my 47th birthday. And if anybody
Mm,
know,
That's
47 is
done.
a really interesting number for Star Trek. So,
Mm,
do
42
your
in
homework
interest.
about that. I'm turning 40 this Friday. So 47 in Star Trek terms, that's a significant number because it's 47 has dropped a whole lot. Well, not a whole lot, but quite a bit in um Star Trek Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager. I don't know if it dropped in uh Enterprise and stuff. But yeah, I turned
Well,
40,
it
47.
probably. Yeah, I think it probably was mentioned at least a few times.
Oh, well, thank you.
we're
Uh,
all just get hey,
Yeah, see, I'll be.
in the wise words of Michael McConaughey, I keep on getting older and they just keep on getting younger.
Yeah, see, but I'm gonna be
But yeah, happy
hitting the
birthday,
miles.
Travis.
Yeah,
Thank you,
indeed,
thank you.
dude. See if we don't
Thank
talk.
you, Jim, and thank
Oh,
you,
see,
Jeff.
well, yeah, but see, I'm gonna be hitting the big old 5-0 at the end of the year, so that's gonna be fun.
Jeez, so you're old.
Dave,
Just play.
Yeah.
hey,
Merry Christmas to
you
you,
gotta look at it
Lord.
like this. You survive. You have survived.
You have.
You have survived 50 years, and you can look back in the 50 years of your life and see the events that have happened that came and gone. And you could say,
Hmm.
you know what? I was there. I remember that. Not I was there, but I remember when that event happened and stuff and everything. Like, I was telling the coworker of mine, it was so funny. I was like, oh man. They was talking about 9/11. I said, oh man, I was just 22 when 9/11 happened. The guy looked at me and
Hmm.
was like, you 22 at 9/11? Like, how old are you? I was like, well, I mean, I said, I'll be 47. You're like, no way. You're that old? I was like,
Mm.
okay. I
No,
remember
when I
when go ahead, Dave.
the friend of a guy that I was kind of seeing back in, want to say 2000 or something like that, and I age came up, so I just looked at him. How old do you think I am? And he said 40. I was like, fuck, I hope I look this good when I'm 40. I'm only 25. I was just like, damn, that stung. that still kind of stings thinking back, but I
And,
think I look better or just about the same as I did when I was in my 20s. Because, like I said,
it was so funny.
I'm at my high school, almost my high school weight. So, and the high school is 31 years ago.
There's a video that I saw that I remember saving. I gotta see if I can find it. And it's so funny that they actually took a look at people from the 19 their counterparts, people who are like I guess in their 40s, 50s, and they looked at their counterparts like from the 1950s and 60s and 70s at the same age they were versus the same age.
Hmm. Yeah, say Jeff, you and I, we've lived
Yeah.
in 6 different decades:
Oh
70s,
yeah.
80s, 90s, the aughts, the 2010s, and now the
I,
2020s.
See, I was born at the end of the 70s, so I mean 78 for me, but like 80s,
Well, you're
90s,
still
and stuff
six
like that.
decades too, and
Mhm.
you're only
Yeah,
47. So,
you know. But no, there
I was
there was a
born at the
video
ass end
that
of the 80s.
you was born at the what?
The ass end of the 80s.
The ass end of the 80s. And you know what? I still remember as you call it the ass end of the 80s. It was such a that decade was interesting and stuff. Just the whole decade period was
Mhm.
as I
Yeah.
remember it's just so interesting and stuff, because I
Yeah, but
remember
the 90s were
I
still the
re-
best.
I remember when Chicken McNuggets came along. That's what was name. I remember Chicken McNuggets debut,
oh
and
yeah,
it
me
was
too.
pretty interesting. It was fun.
Mhm.
It was fun when Chicken McNuggets came along because we all wanted those.
I remember
Yeah.
the chicken nuggets in school, and you'd get mashed potatoes, and then we just
Mm-hmm.
dip them in the mashed potatoes. I
Yep,
love that.
I did too.
Too bad now I don't know, it probably like turned us all autistic or something.
See, you said that you was born at the ass end of the 80s. Dave and
Yeah,
me
89.
remember, and others remember this. In 1986, the space shuttle Challenger exploded after
All
it was
fake.
Yeah.
at
Didn't happen.
Mm.
They're still alive. Well, maybe
uh,
not now, but I watched a
I
video
remember
where someone was.
I was in school. We was all like I was in elementary school or grade school and stuff and everything. I remember we all sat around. We were watching TV because it was a
Hmm.
teacher, and we was watching, and then we was just we was like, oh look, we was excited seeing it, and then all of a sudden it exploded, and it was just absolute quiet,
Mm.
and then I just remember they kind of cut the feed. And they was talking about there's been some problems, and you saw like just debris flying around and stuff and everything,
Oh
and
yeah,
then the
I
teachers now
remember the
they
Columbia.
decided to cut they cut the TV, they turned off the TV and stuff because they knew something horrible happened and stuff, and they didn't want us to watch it. I just remember watching it, and then
Mhm.
like maybe like 30 seconds or like a minute after, like 30 seconds, so like that, they cut the TV feed back into the school day and everything else. And then we all started hearing, everybody died on there because the shuttle exploded.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how
Same go
much.
with Columbia. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
No, I'm trying because I was in the third grade when Challenger happened, and I do remember like we had the one of those accordion walls that separated the two third grade classrooms. We were all watching the
Yeah.
Challenger take off because of Chris
Hmm.
McAuliffe, and I probably the same reason for you too, Travis. But yeah, I'm trying to remember
Hey,
how
Jeff
much.
mentioned it too. Jeff said he remember watching it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man.
Hmm.
That's another big event too that that will always stick with me because
Yeah,
it's like
yeah, Bollinger and Anderson. I forget
All I gotta say is,
how long
Jeff,
after they turned it off.
the '90s was the better decade to be a kid. Just my generation's a bunch of pussies.
you know what we call that? We call if you was listening to me when I was talking about the MTV, they call it the MTV generation. If you remember the people who came up watching the MTV generation, then the MTV who started becoming like um who become an age in the mid to late 90s and stuff and everything.
Mhm.
Because MTV started getting into, what they call it. They had a thing. It was not rally, but it was Fight the Power. It was something called
Mhm.
Fight the Power. I remember the power of young people and stuff like that because it was in the 1992 or 1993 presidential election and stuff and everything else, and they had a campaign of Fight the Power,
I
stop
remember.
censorship and stuff and everything. As I remember, it was Fight the Power. So MTV got on board with Fight the Power and stuff and everything. And I
And,
remember that generation
Fine.
coming up through the
see, and
MTV.
I think I remember Bill Clinton rocking the saxophone on MTV.
He
If I
did.
He
remember
did it
Yeah.
right.
on Arsenio Hall, Arsenio Hall show,
Yep.
and he admit to he tried marijuana. He didn't inhale, but he tried it. He didn't inhale.
I tried that marijuana, but I did not inhale. I repeat, I did not inhale.
But he did stuck that cigar in the Monaco Lewinsky.
He stuck a little something something
Okay,
in a lot of women.
we're
A lot of
getting
girls too.
way
Lot of
too
young girls.
technical.
we're gonna
I,
get ourselves
I
fast.
swear I didn't have sexual relations on that island. Sure.
Okay, well, before we get too off the rails, we're going to call it good. Tune in next week at 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. I think we did pretty good for the new time slot. So I see what's
I
just
tell
in
you.
here.
I tell you what.
Yep.
I tell you. 5:30, 8:30 Eastern. Come on here. I'll be here next week. I'm gonna make it the best technically Trek ever. The best.
Woohoo! Like I say, we got the spooky ass episode. So Tarek Nor. So next week. Until then, may Spock be with you.
Starring
See
Donald Trump.
y'all next week.
Peace and love.